You need truth and life. Here is the Brother Leon Show. You better recognize.
What's going on, listeners? This is your boy, Brother Leon, and I am back again. I ain't gonna lie, man. I thought I was going to stay off for a little bit, but I'm starting to see right now that doors are opening, things are happening, and I just got to be able to come on back to you right here, right now. The one thing that I want you guys to understand and know is this. Money, the Bible says that money answers all things. And to a certain degree, that is. That is definitely true. But the one thing that I want you guys to understand and know right now is that money is a tool. Just like your votes are tools. Just like your tithes are tools. And that is why I said black tithes matter. Black votes matter. Black lives matter. All black lives matter. And so the one thing that I want to tell you guys this evening is that you cannot allow yourself to be used as a tool. You cannot allow yourself to use your resources to finance your own oppression. And here's the one thing that we cannot allow. We cannot allow systems of men, systems that have corrupted systems of law enforcement, to allow money to shut us up. Because what I'm reading right now, you guys are probably already on it, is that allegedly the Breonna Taylor case has been settled. There's been a settlement issue, allegedly. But the one thing I want you guys to understand and know is this, is that her killers have not been brought to justice. And the one thing you got to realize is this, is that as long as there's not accountability, as long as we have in place qualified immunity, and you need to look that word up, qualified immunity, you're going to have cops, you're going to have political officials who can take people's lives and not even feel any type of harm, because it's like, I can get away with it. I can say, I fear for my life. I may be fired, but it's not going to affect me financially. And so we got to get to the place where those who do these type of things, that they begin to feel the sting and feel, the discipline and the hammer coming down. But yet you have these police unions that will protect these type of guys. And this is what I mean when I say that there are people that are more loyal to the badge than to the American flag, than to the oath of a police officer. Because this is what happens. And this is what I mean when I say we need more than just gestures. Yeah, you're supposed to fix that, but also put in place policies, put in place, that you are going to be committed to those that commit those type of atrocities, that you're going to bring them to justice. How is that justice? How is $12 million justice? When you look at the fact that you have a no-knock warrant on the wrong house, then you try to get her ex-boyfriend, to testify against her, to say something crazy. And then on top of that, you want to try to convict her current boyfriend because he thought the house was being burglarized. He's a licensed gun owner, and he was defending himself. Want to try to bring charges. Those charges were dropped. I am so glad. But this is what I mean when I talk about the corruption that is in the system. And then we got the nerve to say Blue Lives Matter? Blue Lives Matter? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I said it. Because at this point in time, it's not about blue lives. It's about the fucking blood that you leaving in the street, and then you have every fucking taxpayer pay for that shit. You paying to execute people. Bang, 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 bang. 7 shots to the back. And this is what our tax dollars buy. Our tax dollars buy 12 million to shut the fuck up. Shut up, nigga. That's what they saying. And I'm getting sick and tired of it. And yet the church, I'm telling you, we are silent on issues on this. This is why I'm coming out with Truth in Life Urban Ministry. This is why oh my God. This is why that we have to protest. Stuff like this. Because if they can take and silence our voice with money, then we'll go away. But what happens when you have a person that cannot be bought? What happens? A person cannot be bought. A person that cannot be bought will be labeled a terrorist. A person that cannot be bought, a person that you can't pacify, will be labeled a terrorist. Yes. Because I look at it like this. I did an interview with the Black Hebrews. They're labeled as terrorists. But who's the one shooting up schools? Who's the one that are shooting people at protests? And then you got the nerve to say, hey, you know, it's just some bad apples. Yeah. At this time, I'm starting to think that maybe the whole fucking crop might be bad. Seriously. That's what I'm starting to think. Because at this moment, at this time, at this age, this is what justice looks like. You can pay off, but still don't bring killers to justice, still don't admit any wrongdoing. And it's taxpayers' money. She paid for her execution. And now her family is also receiving tax benefits that that now she's giving them. And she's not even here. Taxpayers' money. Qualified immunity. No-knock warrants. And then you have the audacity to try to defend the fact that we need to defund the police. Let me ask you this. Why is it that you need a mounted patrol, a motorcycle patrol, and a scooter patrol? City of Wilmington? Seriously. Newcastle County? Because, you know, these are the things that I'm seeing. How is it that a police budget can afford or even need a tank? I really would like to know that one. Is that what we doing now? Seriously, is that what we doing now? And the crazy thing that really gets me is that we had a young man walk through a protest, shoot people, and then people defend, oh man, he was just using his constitutional rights. Walk right past police with an AR-15. And here it is, Jacob Blake, he's walking away, back turned to the police officer, and he shot 7 times. This is what I mean when I say that until they see your humanity, they will never respect you. They will never reconcile with you. And that's what I mean. I'm serious. I don't care what any person of faith says. There can never be reconciliation. There will never be healing of racial issues until there's recognition. Until there's recognition of a person's humanity, you can do to them whatever you want. Because you have the luxury, when you give the label of nigger, when you give the label of whatever the new word for nigger is, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's riot, or whether it's protester, when you give that label, you take away a person's humanity. And the person that loses their humanity, the person that takes it, has the luxury of not having a conscience, not having empathy or compassion towards you. They can do anything they want. And the crazy part about it, like I've been saying, that we have even sold out. Some of us have black skin, but yet that soul is white supremacist. We see it in some of the moves that you make. We see it in some of the votes that you cast down, and even some of the votes that you make. But I'm here to tell you this day that is getting ready to change. That is definitely getting ready to change, because righteousness is getting ready to come over this nation, and a sweep of vengeance and a sweep of God's justice is getting ready to run through here. Because how long? How long does the blood have to cry from the streets? How long is it that black people and marginalized people are being ignored? Their cries are being ignored, but yet their blood is in the street, and yet they pay taxes. How long will that be ignored? Because I'm going to tell you right now, God's going to answer that cry, and there's going to rise up a person who's going to rally activists, who's going to rally those who are inventors, those, who are creatives. And they're going to tear this system down. Because I'm going to tell you, yeah, money does answer all things. But here's the thing, that might be that side of money, but then there's this side of money as well. And you got to look out for the person who ain't willing to take money off the back of a person's soul. Money off the blood of a person's soul. You got to look out for the person that's not willing to shut up. That can see through the game. That can see through the lens. That can see this is nothing more than just a photo op, and you want to use my pain. So yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, man, we got to wake up. Because at this point right now, this is fourth quarter. This is fourth quarter. And we need to bury this. Because if we don't, but I'm going to tell you this, it might be fourth quarter, it may look like we losing, but if it means we go into overtime, we go into overtime. And that's what has to happen. That is what has to happen, because I'm going to tell you right now, as long as these systems are in place, qualified immunity, you're going to continue to see these type of things happen. As long as you have a police force that has SOP from the 60s, trainers from the 60s, 70s, 80s. And these are some of the tactics that are justified. As long as you have government officials that in place that say you're getting something, but it's actually nothing. Like, oh, hey, chokeholds are illegal unless the officer feels his life is in danger. Yeah, Governor Carney. Really? Really? So what excuse you think they're going to use now other than I was in fear for my life? Oh, I felt like my life was in danger, so I used it. That's just something we can put in our pocket now. But you also have to look at who is why are the police unions who are in desperate need of a new image endorsing our current president? Why is that? Seriously, have you asked yourself that? Why is it that if you are in need of a new image, if you are in need of public support, then why would you get behind? Why would you get behind our current president, even with some of the things that he has said? Seriously. I just want to know that. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the thing that is out here right now, they want you to think that people don't want to be policed. They don't want police. They want to take away all their budgets. Have you even looked at the police's budget? Have you even looked at the contracts, the negotiations in the contracts, and how much money they ask every contract negotiation period? I'm serious. When you look at municipalities, when you look at the budget of those municipalities, where does the large chunk of that budget goes? And then you have the nerve to say, hey, we going to defund the police when, their budget is in the millions. So yeah, you hear my radio in the background because this is another Work Chronicle. But yeah, I want you guys to understand and know, man, seriously, something has got to give. And that's the God knows truth. Something has got to give. Because we need to start looking at this as a whole. How is it you could come up with money that fast? So you think that the protests won't stop? Oh, their family got paid off, so the protests need to stop? No. The protests need to continue until her killers are brought to justice. Yeah, that's just one step, but we need arrests. We need policies. And the crazy part about it is that she is gone and these men get to live their lives like nothing happened. Because I'm going to tell you, man, that whole thing right there, if you take away qualified immunity, I guarantee you that there will be discipline all the way down the board. From the person that set up logistics, from the person who was the investigator, to all the way to the cops, all the way to the fact that, hey, you should have checked that shit 3 times to make sure, and then even down to dispatch. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, how is it that you can have that type of mess up with that type of information, not even check it to make sure? How is that? How is it that you can do an investigation and have so many loopholes and holes and mistakes? Seriously, who's doing what? Who's doing reconnaissance? Who's checking to make sure that it adds up? Who's the dispatch person? Matter of fact, who's the supervisor? Who's the sergeant? Who's the person that wrote off on the warrants? Who's the judge that gave permission? Who's the prosecutor? And this is why I say that they're not going to prosecute their own. Because number one, you have qualified immunity. Then on top of that, police are always the first boots on the ground. So yeah, you have a prosecutor that's not going to prosecute police. They'll prosecute criminals. They try to prosecute Breonna Taylor's boyfriend. But here it is, her killers are still out here. Yeah, let's just give them 12 million. You gave Jennifer Damon's family 20. $20 million, or I might be wrong, maybe $40 million. $12 million, and you fucked up. $12 million. Yeah. $12 million, and you fucked up. But at the end of the day, you just want it to go away. And we can say it was a bad apple, it was a mistake, yada, 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 yada. And the crazy part about it, it's always the victim's fault. That's how they put it. Jacob Blake's fault. You can't justify a back shot. I don't care who you are. Because a back shot quantifies the fact that you have the advantage. You have the advantage. I don't care what type of police training you got. If you can justify a back shot, you have the advantage. You had the advantage. And you can sit all day and say, hey, he should have complied. Tell that to Philando Castile. Serious. Because at this point right now, it's just best when you come across with cops, just pull out your license, your insurance and your registration, and don't say nothing. Because as soon as you open your mouth, you really don't know who you're dealing with. But it's like soon as you open your mouth, it could go either way. Just announce, hey, I'm going home from work. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm going to stay silent for the rest of this interaction. And that's the God knows truth. And the crazy part about all of this is that at the end of the day, had it been white people, you would get justice. Because I've seen it. When it's a officer of color, that those people got justice. They did a smear campaign on their own, but when it's us, they do a smear campaign on the victim. They kill us twice. And yet we hear the excuse, I was in fear for my life. I love the fact that these gestures, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is very, very marketable. Racism is marketable right now. I'm telling you, racism is marketable right now. Just like mental health is marketable right now. Just like coronavirus is very marketable right now. People are making money to keep it going. Keep the party going. But I'm going to tell you, man, we cannot allow ourselves to sell our souls. I'm telling you, sometimes all money ain't good money. Now, granted, if I was in their shoes, I don't know. Seriously, I really don't know if I would take it if I was in their shoes. But do I agree that, I agree that they need to pay? Yeah, they need to pay. Not only money, but we need arrest. We need for you to address that you did wrong. Seriously, we need the DA to say that. We need a prosecutor that's going to prosecute these police. And let this family get justice, because you can't sit up here and say that there was not a violation of civil rights. You can't give me that. I'm telling you, man, these are the things that really make me think that, and I really have to ask God to help me, because these are the issues that really, really hurt my heart. And I just have to ask God, Lord, don't allow this hurt to turn into bitterness, because this is the reason why we fight. This is the reason why we protest, because of issues like this, because we see the hypocrisy. I'm serious. We see the hypocrisy. We see the miscarriage of justice. We see that. And the crazy thing about it is that there are people who want to just keep this thing going, not change it, because number one, it dulls your conscience after a while. And the thing is that it keeps killing our humanity. And if it keeps killing our humanity, then what do you think's going to happen? Seriously, what do you think is going to happen when justice allows this to take place? When there are those who have the power to convict, choose not to. You can sit up here and try to tell me it's for the greater good, but it isn't. It isn't going to quell peace. Because at the end of the day, her killers are not brought to justice. And what you did is you took a gross mistake, negligence to the highest degree, and you're trying to justify it. There should be more than just $12 million. There should be more than just 12 million. There needs to be $100 million, and also you taking away these officers' badge as well as pensions. That's what needs to happen. There needs to be federal legislation that takes away this qualified immunity when it comes to these type of officers, these type of actors and agents of federal and local organizations that act as law enforcement. that act in the justice system. This is what needs to happen. And until that happens, you're going to keep seeing scenarios like this. You're going to keep seeing police like this. And the crazy part about it, they get to go home at the end of the night, and yet a family has to bury a loved one. And then you wonder why we riot? Because we're not being heard. And the crazy part about it, hey, I do not condemn nor do I condone, but I understand. And the crazy part is that you will never understand until it's you. And as long as you keep the attitude, I can't see that shit from my house. As long as it don't affect me, I'm not concerned. But I'm going to tell you, pretty soon, the fire's going to come to your house. And the crazy part about it, this is not black people's thing to fix. This is white people's thing to fix. Because the crazy part about it is that we did not ask to be brought here. We did not ask to be enslaved. We did not ask for you to take and enslave us and then benefit from that for years and then set up systems that will still keep us in chains. And then as soon as we get out from those chains, as soon as we have our own, then you change the game, or we build up and then you tear it down and then make excuses. So this is why things need to change. I'm serious. I'm really starting to see right now, man, that if you look at the patterns of history, if you look at every generation, every decade, and you begin to see the pattern after pattern after pattern after pattern, I'm really starting to believe, man, I'm really starting to believe that until this conversation of recognition happens, there will never be reconciliation. And then you have to look at the pattern. And if you don't learn from the pattern, if you don't learn from history, you're going to repeat it. What has history shown us? What has history shown us? As much as Martin Luther King has done, and as much of his spirit still resonates this day, what has history shown us? Same thing with Malcolm X. What has history shown us? History has shown the fact that even the best of us, that even the brightest of us, can still be killed by the spirit of racism that is still prevalent in the American nation today. Do I have a hope that this thing will be, extracted? Yeah, I do. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, it's going to take some time, and it's definitely taking blood. And it's going to be a fight. Because the thing is that it's about control. It's always been about control. Why do you think people are feeling like they're losing control? They're losing their country. They're losing their way of life. But when have communities of color ever had a life here in America that was equal to whites? When? When was America ever great for all cultures? All communities? When? Wasn't great for blacks in the 50s and the early 60s. So I'm here to say, man, something got to give. And we got to deal with these police unions. We got to deal with this qualified immunity. Because the whole thing about not knowing, how police officers are, not being a police myself, I look at it like this. I understand that you can't turn that thing off. That I do get. I do understand that it was a career choice. But you choose to put that blue uniform on or that badge on every day. You chose that. You weren't born that way. Communities of color were born with the skin that they are in. And the crazy part about it is that makes them a suspect. That makes them a suspect. But when has a cop ever been a suspect? Maybe if he was black and not in uniform. But the whole thing about Blue Lives Matter, man, please. Blue Lives Matter, that's a career. It's not a fucking skin. And you can sit up here and say police lives matter. My heart goes out to those police officers who were killed in the line of duty trying to protect and serve. But what do you say to these rogue fucking cops out here? What do you say? Seriously. And the ones that are quiet in the good, the so-called good cops, where are you guys at? Seriously. I wish to God I could see videos of more cops speaking out against these rogue police. But I hardly see it. And then the ones that do it end up getting fired. Or getting, quote unquote, reassigned. I know how that fucking reassignment shit works. So something has to give. Something has to give. Because I'm going to tell you, man, yo, look at Christopher Dorner. Look at his case. So, here it is. The blue wall of silence. Everything is good until you come against one of us. Is that it? Is that it? Oh, I'm your brother until I decide, hey, look, man, nah, dude, that's not cool. Let's not do that. And then all of a sudden now, I'm being questioned. Now all of a sudden now, it's like training day. This is not an option, nigga. For real. Is that the case? But I'm here to tell you right now, man, is that, yo, we better wake up, man, because if we continue to sell out, our nation, if we continue to sell out our communities, then we're going to sell our soul. And we're going to sell our soul and our cities to the devil. We're going to sell it to Satan. He's going to have a field day. And the crazy part about it is that what you don't want is for people to just, all of a sudden just leave. And now, lawlessness has now taken over the whole city. And the reason why lawlessness prevails is that justice never rolled through. Justice never prevails. If compromise quenches the fires of justice, if compromise takes and silence the voice of justice, then you're going to have lawlessness. And then the cops are going to leave because they don't even live in the fucking city. They live outside of the city and they go to it to work. They ain't going to, man, I'm going to tell you, they'll call the fuck out. They'll have a blue flu. Oh, no, it's too hot. You want to know why it's too hot? Because there were legislators and prosecutors that didn't do their job because these guys went rogue and were allowed to do anything, and then people just got fucking tired and said, fuck it. You got to watch out when people just say, you know what, man, fuck it. Let's do it. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. You got to watch out for that. Because if that day ever comes, not just one people, but an army of people, there's some shit gonna go down. And that's the God knows truth. But the crazy part is that if it was any other community, it'd be an act of war. If it was the Asian community, it'd be an act of war. If it was the Arab community, it'd be an act of war. But it happens to us. And it's not an act of war because I'm gonna just call it for what it is. It's domestic terrorism. It's American on American. And you could call it black on white, white on black, police on black. It's American and American versus American. When it comes right down to it. And we have domestic terrorism. And the crazy part about it is that the community of our people, of community of colors, have been labeled terrorists. They're being extinguished by these rogue police. And then their voices are being silent when protesters protest and you see it. Yo, let's just give them some taxpayer money. Let's just give them a little something to shut them the fuck up. And this is as not only is it a travesty of justice, and this is how you see your tax dollars at work, but it adds insult to injury. Seriously. Gross negligence. Gross negligence. And all it's worth is 12 mil. You shoot a woman who was EMS, first responder. 12 million. You kill her in her sleep. 12 million. And yet the cops that did it, not even brought to justice. Not even admitting wrongdoing. Go about living their lives. Maybe get fired, but still collect the pension. How is that? How is it that you can take somebody's life? And this is what I mean about policing. Policing is the only career that you can actually fuck somebody up and get away with that shit. Law enforcement, definitely. You can be a prison guard and fuck somebody up. Police officer, fuck somebody up. Parole officer, fuck somebody up. And you know, local, state and local authorities will back that it was justified. But how can you justify this? It's your tax dollars at work. Jacob Blake's tax dollars at work got him shot. Breonna's tax dollars at work got her killed. Philando Castile's tax dollars got him killed. Tamir Rice's parents' tax dollars got him killed. Eric Garner's tax dollars got him killed. And then you have the nerve to complain about Black Lives Matter? Get the fuck out of here. Seriously, get the fuck out of here. Because I tell you this, you okay with your tax dollars paying for execution, and then you mad because we say Black Lives Matter? Then you get mad at the organization? Really? Man, shut the fuck up.